Meanwhile, across the pond, British Airways holds its shareholders meeting today. The airline is struggling with falling traffic, wavering cash flow, and the ever-present danger of a strike. Rish Salamat is in Westminster, where the meeting will take place. And Rish, walk us through all the problems that BA faces right now.
Yeah, I mean, really, you were just talking about some of those U.S. carriers as well. Losses taking place across the airline industry. But British Airways relies on premium traffic. It's those business class and first class traffic, which really at the moment is generating something like between 45 and 50% of the company's revenues. And that's really the nub of it right now. 2 years ago, British Airways had record profits. Last year, it was a record loss. So things have changed. On top of that, it's got a pensions deficit in excess of $2 billion. So right now, it's all to play for with this threat of strike action looming. Chief executive of the company, Willie Walsh, he wants to cut around about 3,700 jobs, renegotiate contracts, also at the same time cut back on some of the benefits at ground staff and also cabin crew as well. And that's, of course, caused the ire of the unions. And if we could just have a look, we've got some of them lobbying the shareholders as they come in, some of them saying, hey, it's time to head to the departure gate, Willie. We also had lemmings. So we had one of the unions bring 12 lemmings out, and this is really indicative of them suggesting that they would be better led by lemmings. Of course, lemmings throw themselves off cliffs, suggesting that, well, British Airways management was doing exactly that with this airline as well. So that's what we have currently as far as this situation. We had 4 weeks of talks. They're in deadlock at the moment, talking to one of the union representatives, suggesting that a strike is a long way off, but they can't rule it out. Scarlett.
Now, how damaging could a strike be for the company?
Well, it could be pretty damaging. I mean, this would be the first strike action, the action this airline has had from its employees directly since July of 1997, so something like 12 years ago. At that point, it was a 3-day strike, cost the company around about $160 million. I can tell you, we've been talking to Doug McNeil earlier today. He's an analyst, one of the best-rated analysts, suggesting a strike could cost the airline something like £25 million a day. That's about $40 million. And this really comes about as we see also a pilot. The pilots agreed terms where they would have their pay reduced by 2.6% over the next 2 years, and then they would have a pay rise. Now, the unions here are arguing that, well, you know, can't we be offered the same thing? And they're not being at the moment. But turbulent times, pardon the pun. Scarlett, back to you in New York.
Thanks very much. Rish Salamat at the British Airways shareholders meeting in Westminster, UK.